Okay, so this is all of the ships that I have ever built in 2022. There's a decent amount, as you can see. I built a lot of ships, and we're going to start all the way back here. A couple things I'm going to mention. I am slightly sick right now, and I'm really not cutting this video at all, because it's going to be very long. In the sake of my interests, I don't want to go through and edit it. So if I cough 5 times per minute, that's for you to deal with. The other thing is that the sun isn't really properly aligned on these ships. It was properly aligned on those ships, but as I pasted these ships in, they just kind of went in a big circle, so it doesn't really align here. So we're going to start with the first, the best, the greatest, and work our way to the bester and the greatest deer of all of my ships here. So for starters, this is the Endurance, I think. I'm forgetting my old ship names, but Endurance is what I believe this to be. This was going to be published, but then I delayed publishing it for a couple of reasons, and also one of those was this block just floating here. This was based off of the HCAT, which was a ship used in the 7th iteration of the Lunar Colony server. I use this as a cargo transport, and because it had to transport a lot of cargo, it had a lot of upthrust. I brought it into the final battle with a lot of guns on it because I really couldn't figure out anything else to put around here, and the immense amount of upthrust performed well. That was really my first experience with dodging, so I'm like, wow, this actually works. And then Warfare 2 dropped, and I'm like, let's carry this concept over. So here we have the Endurance, which is built quite similarly. And a lot of these blocks are the same, but there's a couple of things I changed. First of all, as you might notice, all these hydrogen tanks and cargo containers, which are pretty weak, are taken out. And I tried to replace them and replicate them with these blocks here. And there's no large hydrogen tanks on the ship. I did small hydrogen tanks because I was really paranoid of hydrogen tank explosions. Is large or small better at this point? It's difficult to tell. It's a lot easier to fit large tanks and just like have a lot of storage that way. But small don't make as big of an explosion. Of course, that said, when small gets destroyed, they'll make a small explosion, and this allows your ship to get destroyed faster because there's small tanks. I also built the ship with the custom turrets and all the Warfare 2 things. These guys down here can extend, and it still has a ridiculous amount of upthrust, as you saw before. So, leading these. This was... Okay. Now, from that, Lunar Colony Iteration 8 of their server comes out, and I'm playing on that. So, first of all, I need a fighter. It's all on one planet. So, yeah, grab fighter. This is the fighter I'm using. It is the Protector, I believe. It's fast. It's small. It got the job done. It wasn't using autocannons. Even though autocannons are better, I didn't have any place to fit a cargo container on here. So everything had to be stored in the connector or in the weapons. And in case you haven't noticed already, autocannons are incredibly space inefficient with their ammo. Their ammo takes up a lot of space, and a box of autocannon magazines, or an autocannon magazine, doesn't really give it that many shots compared to a Gatling ammo box, which takes up less space and has more shots in it and can just fire for longer. You can just put down much more suppressing fire, which is nice. This is the LC-1, DHF LC-1. I know, lots of numbers and letters. I was in a period where I didn't feel like naming my ships because, let's be honest, naming ships is hard. It's harder than building them. So I just gave them a designation, which is LC for Light Cruiser -1, because it's the first light cruiser I built using these designations. So LC-1. This was a mostly Atmo-capable fire platform. On the server, this was by far the most powerful ship out there. However, unfortunately, it was destroyed by being swarmed by Inari gunships in the largest battle, or really the only battle that happened. Then there was this. This is the CO1D, CO-1D. Once again, CO for Corvette, 1 because it's the first Corvette, and then D because this is the 4th iteration of this specific Corvette. This one was built before this guy, and yeah, it was built before this guy, and I had a lot of time to play around with it in survival, and you know what happens when you play with stuff in survival? They get survival tested, so a lot of stuff was updated. All of these turrets have double welders on them, which is quite a lot. Or in some cases, just single welders, because I couldn't really figure out where to put a second welder. It's got cameras, it's pretty redundant. Even though this looks to be super exposed, this was like the only block that actually survives on this ship for some reason. It's got a lot of guns. It was designed as a counter for the Inari gunship. Yeah, that's this ship. I'm not going to go through interiors, even though all the ships I've pretty much shown previously have interiors. I'm just not going to go through interiors for the sake of time. This is the G-1 gunship. Just a small scout gunship. Yeah, the idea. I was mostly using my fighter to fly around and scout, but then I got chased down by yet another Inari gunship, and my fighter got blown up. It was the fighter that was over there. And so I needed another scout craft, and considering that my base was now at this point much bigger and had much more resources, I decided to funnel it into this. I think I did pretty good work on this. I always like these like cargo fuel pods. I don't know what you call them, hanging off the side there. And it wasn't really for combat, it was just fly around, scout, and if somebody actually came up to fight, the idea was your ship actually has some guns, enough to deter fighters, and some people might just not want to fight because, you know, they could lose their ship. This ship, there's some dude out here on the internet called Arbiter who makes Halo-esque ships. One day I was just playing around in a world with him, and I'm like, yo, I should build a ship in your style. So I did. Okay, so this ship was also built in Arbiter's style. I built it after the ship I just deleted over here. This is definitely the most agreeable ship out of all the ships I'd built up until this point. It's not my best work now, but I think it was back then. I really liked it, and it had some solid like colors and depth going on that just made it pop. It's not finished. I still have to set up the control panel. It has a very big and complete interior. It's got hangars. It's got really everything, and it has a lot of guns too. If there was available surfaces, I just kind of like gave them guns. Yeah, that's this ship. Also, it's got 5 railguns, which was the most I'd ever put on a ship up until this point. I know, meta players make fun of me. This is the Revenant. Oh boy. If you watch any of the Luke of the Guide videos as of recently, you might have seen this ship just chilling around in the background. Apparently Luke is using it as one of the ships in our background now, but it's white in those videos. That's because I uploaded it to the workshop with white and blue color scheme, but it was originally built with this red color scheme. Why? Because I was going to be using it in a cinematic, as I've said before. Is that cinematic ever going to come out? Probably not, because I've got other cinematics I want to do instead. But I built it red because it was going to be part of the enemy. This is one of... I really like this ship. I think it's pretty well rounded. It's got a lot of combat potential with all of its guns staggered like this. And I think it's front really well on this ship. Yeah, that's this ship. Also, you might see a lot of agreeable tactics that I use now just on here, like this is here, and these heat vents. I don't really use heat vents as much anymore. Generally just these blocks here, these barred windows. And also the block thrusters, which is a staple of these ships over here. Yeah, that's this ship. This fighter, because he's a carrier right here, I gotta talk about a fighter. I just built this while I was playing around the world with Yaki Yaki. It's got 6 guns, it's very fast, but it doesn't have any higher in capacity. It just runs on O2 tanks. It's a decent fighter. Although, I've built better fighters. Oh boy, this is the Behemoth, I believe. This is massive, this isn't published, this isn't finished. I have not even gone through the control panels of this. This is the carrier. I built these ships over here, and I'm like, well, I can't carry fighters, and I need to carry fighters. So I built a ship that could carry fighters. It's pretty big, and it doesn't do that much in terms of weapons, because it's a carrier. It's not going to be able to defend itself, so why put that many guns on it? Just enough to deal with smaller ships that may come near. Yeah, that's this ship. It's really just a tall version of this ship, in my opinion, with less weapons. And it's got a decent amount of, like, greeble inside here. And I also really like this section here. It kind of wraps around nicely. However, the back is bland. It's just a wall with some block thrusters. I mean, yeah, it's not the best. Oh, my game's so much better now. This is the Dominance. So, before Warfare 1 and before the new year, I built a ship called the Amos Burton. It was like the meta ship for before Warfare 2. It was just a big block with a lot of weapons on it. This is essentially the same thing, except it's smaller with more Warfare 2 guns. I slapped guns onto pretty much every available surface here. Just PDCs and artillery turrets because, let's be honest, nothing else is better. And also it's got like 20 artillery in here. Which, I could have probably done railguns, but railguns require a lot of power. It's just difficult to deal with railguns, so I put in artillery. Because artillery just has a much higher fire rate. These things hurt when they hit, too. It's a lot of damage. Once again, we've got block thrusters, and then also I did a lot of weird bridges around that time, which I kind of like, so you've got those. Yeah, that's this ship. This is the Corvette for the red ships. This is the last of the red ships. This one, it's actually completely set up and ready for publishing. I just haven't published it yet. Yeah. That's it. That's all I gotta do. But I probably won't for a while, because I'm lazy. This ship, idea, put artillery turrets on a ship, a small fast ship, swarm your enemy. Dude, I'm getting even more sick as this video goes on. My cough is set, of course. This ship also has these cool PDCs here. I don't really meddle in custom turrets. They kind of make your gyroscopic maneuverability weird. But it is what it is. They're powerful. They're quite powerful. Ooh, the Endeavor. I like these ships. These ships I built after the red ones. I tried to go for a much more Major John-esque feel. As you can see, they were mostly laid out with a frame here with this, like, silhouette. And then on that, I would slap. The idea was using this. The idea of having a flat plate here, and then use these angle blocks to angle it inward, so you've got a 3-block space for these cargo containers. You're going to see this a lot on a lot of my ships. I do this a ton. Downside is that then you just have cargo here, and then stuff here, and then stuff here, and you don't have any room for actual interior, which kinda sucks. In this case, the entire interior is literally clumped right up here in the bridge. That's it. That's the interior tour. This doesn't have a jump drive, it's merely just like haul your cargo from planet to space. I still like it though. I think I did good work on it, especially with the bottom here. Although it's not as detailed as Major John. Major John is insane, guys. This stuff is really cool. That's this ship. Now onto this ship. This one is obviously built in the same style, but it's a gunship. This is like a personal craft. Fly it around, go blow some pirates up now and then. Yeah. It's got a jump drive unlike the last one, which is nice. And it's got heavier weaponry. Overall, just better. You can fly it on every planet. It's a nice little transportation craft. Just don't go into heavy combat with it, because you'll die. Speaking of heavy combat, we have the Avalon. Oh boy. I'm going to do a review on this, or an overlook at this sometime soon. This was the most meta ship that I had built up until this point. It has a lot of railguns. The entire point was I made a shell of railguns, and then I challenged Severs, one of the people I play Space Engineers with, to see which of us could make this shell of railguns that looked the nicest. Severs forgot about the challenge, unfortunately. Yeah, so I've got this ship. Once again, you're gonna see this thing. Plane of blocks. Slope. Wider plane of blocks. This ship also had a lot of ion. Why? Because I thought that if you got your hydrogen knocked out, you might need some redundancy. It's always nice just to have that redundant thrust on there. It has a lot of, once again, it still has a lot of railguns. 27 railguns are staggered with salvo script. This ship is pretty powerful. It's one of, if not the most powerful ships I have in my blueprints menu right now. This was also the first ship that I made that ever hit front page. This stayed on front page for like a week. It was crazy. Yeah, that's the Avalon. Ooh, this is just a gunship for cinematic. Yeah, there's not much more I can say. It's red, it's pirate. I did a lot of work on the bottom. I really like building these small crafts about this size. They're nice. Also, it used this. This greeble like this. You'll see this on a lot of my ships now. I really like greeble like this. I just use it. It looks cool. It works. It also had a lot of red. Like, if the reds were trying to be panels, there's more of them than I think I really should have had. And the back is really a bit too red, but it is what it is. I also textured the hull here, which makes it look somewhat decent. And also this. These kind of inward curves. I stole that from Omega. Not sorry. The Mantis, I think, yeah. I built this off of CDF Outlands ships. Why? Because they look cool. So I incorporated this. And then this nose. and that was pretty much history. The ship is a lot cleaner than a lot of the other ships I build. It uses mostly weldless armor, which I don't really play entirely with. You use weldless armor here and there, but you don't use it all the time. Yeah, that's this ship. It's got some thrusters. It's got a stupid amount of up thrust. Just a lot of thrust in all directions. And 6 artillery turrets, which can all fire forward at any given time. Also, a couple of fixed artillery, but those don't really matter. This guy, I've done an overview of him. I put a lot of work into this ship. It's the only ship I built in this style. What was this? This is... Oh, I forget what ship this was. Dude, I forget what ship this was. Whoops. Is that... Oh, that's on a rotor. That's not gonna work. What ship was this? Oh, this was the Starfall, right? Starfall Corvette. Yeah. Not meant to be powerful, it's just meant to look cool. With this bridge under here. I've done a review on it. I don't really need to go in depth on it. I like it. This ship. Fast, small. It's like the Avalon, but tiny, was my idea behind it. Use it for swarm tactics. Also, it uses this piece of greeble, which I really like. You put the camera in the center of the O2, of the oxygen farm. It just looks really cool. It fits. It works better than the normal oxygen farm. This ship really isn't that survivable. It is what it is. Yeah. If it dies, it dies. I can always make more of them. This ship is unfinished. There's no interior, or at least only partial interior. You've seen this. I flew through this in one of my videos a lot. Fix this on there. This is going to be released probably around the time AI update comes out. It's got a grav drive in it, which goes really fast. And it's just going to be able to fly around well. That's the entire idea. Just use a WASD grav drive. Also, the shape on this. The main premise of this was this shape. And also, these thruster banks are kind of cool. Now, Outlands. This is when I joined Outlands. I built some ships. This was the first ship I built, but I'll do this one first because it's in the line. This is a battlecruiser for the VPC. I know, I was with the furry femboy VPC. Don't yell. Also, I should probably put a heavy armor bridge here, because I can. But I haven't yet. As such, it's not done. I never released this VPC. VPC died before they even came close to being able to use this. The idea was we were going to hopefully be able to get maybe the battleship talent at some point. So I wanted to have a battleship ready, because all my faction members, let's be honest, they just kind of built badly looking ships that wouldn't compare to Phoenix or pretty much anyone else, especially not First Fleet. First Fleet ships look insane. The thruster bank on this was one of my favorite parts of this. I kind of just like how they're all staggered and just looks cool, as well as this overhanging bridge that you'll see on a lot of my Outland ships. It just kind of overhangs and protects the bridge. It's nice. Yeah, this ship. The Horizon. This was my attempt at using a fade. It becomes more blue. Look at that, crazy. Yeah, it was a fade. VPC's original color was blue, believe it or not. So I got into a world with a whole bunch of VPC people, and I did a blue fade on the ship, and I think it looked kind of cool. I think this is the Horizon Mr. Blue Sky frigate. It was a frigate. with a decent amount of upthrust, and a bridge that may or may not be illegal. It looks legal, but it also isn't, I think, because I think these blocks are illegal, but but its positioning, like actually on the inside, could also be illegal. Yeah, this ship, it's pretty cool. I want to make this vanilla at some point because I think it looks cool, and the thruster bank also is pretty cool. Finally, we have the Valor Mark IV. This is the final Outland ship. I built this before Battlecruiser and after the frigate. It's in VBC colors, as you can see, pink and all. And it says Mark IV. Why? Because, oh my god, I'm pressing so many buttons. Why does it say Mark IV? Because this is the 4th iteration of the ship. It went through so many, it's going to be through a 5th. Outlands players are crazy with how optimized their ships get. This one really isn't. Although, it still works. It's got a decent amount of upthrust. And a very large forward thrust back, but it's using less powerful thrusters. So it has less thrust than the upthrust. But it's just generally more redundant because there's a lot of it. Once again, you can see this kind of overhanging bridge here. All of these weapons. And I think this was originally meant to be a DDK. But I think we decided to not do DDK, so I removed its DDK ability. Also, camera, and a really protected camera. I don't think this camera should be here. I think I placed that badly. So just 2 cameras. But yeah, this is this ship. It's nice. Also, it uses this 4-pronged front, which is very reminiscent of the Autumn and a lot of CDF designs. Kinda because I stole it from them. Not sorry. Yeah, that's all the ships I think that I've built. Wait, I missed one. Okay, yeah, that was this. And then the final ship is this ship. The most recent ship I built. It's another one of these small, little fast attack crafts with this thing here. With a cargo container, and it's got some weapons. It was just meant to look cool, and also use this color scheme. I forgot to jump drive in it, though, so it's going to be jump driveless, and I'm probably never going to use it in actual combat, but I'll release it to the workshop, because I think it looks cool. So, that is all the ships I built in 2022. I'm definitely missing some, but it is what it is. It's the majority of them. Yeah. Bye.